Hi, and welcome to episode 2 of Moderate to Severe. I am Jonathan Scott, as the intro said. Before I start this episode, I just want to do some house cleaning a little bit, kind of go over a couple things that maybe I left untied at the end of last episode. One of the first things I really want to kind of go over is that I do have ADHD. And with that being said, there may be times where I jump from story to story and go back. And I apologize on that. I try to maintain my script and my focus of what I want to talk about and things of that nature. But, this being an off the cusp kind of show and not being generated by anybody but myself, there are times where I just do go back and forth. So I want to apologize about that. Hopefully, it's not too distracting. You may find it amusing. I find it amusing. Like I said, my brain kind of works like the ticker tapes in Times Square. I have 1,000 things going through my mind at one time. It's just me trying to put things into different situations and stories and, kind of create the best information to give to you that I can. Um, One of the things I wanted to really talk about, though, was the fact that why I'm doing this is a lot based on my family. My wife has, for the better part of 20 years, protected myself, our family, from the fact that I do suffer from mental health issues. And me coming out and bearing it all has kind of jolted things. And I just want to let you know that the reason I'm doing this is so that other people out there do not have to live alone. When I told my kids that I was going to Sierra Tucson, it was kind of an awakening for me. I remember sitting him down, and as I said earlier, it was a Thursday, and we sat him down on Thursday night when we pretty much decided I was going to go. And we sat down my two oldest, my 17 and my 14-year-old, and we told them that I was going away because Dad had to go away to take care of some things and to get better. And they knew. There was no argument. There was no why. Both of them were like, yeah, you need to go, Dad. We support you. We want you to be better. We want you to feel better. And for me, that was a major turning point because I thought that I had done a great job of hiding it from them for all these years. What started going through my mind was how long exactly had they known that I've been battling? My daughter used to call me Quiet Dad because I would just sit around and just be quiet. I didn't talk. I wasn't social. I sat around and I did a lot of nothing. Um, about 2.5 years ago, when I started getting help, I became Fun Dad. I enjoy being Fun Dad. Don't like being Quiet Dad. But they notice. So if you're sitting out there listening and you're wondering, does this apply to me? Do my kids know? They know. Okay? They know, they know, they know. My 10-year-old was a different story. I had a vice. I used to dip. And we told him that I was going away to get healthy. Um, he was actually telling people that my dad was going to Tucson to get healthy to stop dipping. And people would ask my wife, why is Jonathan going away for a month to stop dipping? And that's how it kind of came out to other people. Um, but the kids know. And I think what made me going away okay is the support I got from my wife, my kids, and my extended family to say that everything at home was going to be okay. I needed to go away. I probably needed to go away years ago, but I just didn't. But going away, as I said in that last episode, and we'll get more into it as we get into more episodes, going away is what really brought me to where I am. So that's the second thing I wanted to say was that if you don't know, think if your kids notice, they do. And if they don't yet, they will. What's your why? And your why has to be about you. Okay? Although I have a family and my kids, my why ultimately has to be that I need to be my best self for my family, for my job. I need to take control and be my best self. Now, I was not doing that. I was not taking care of myself in any manner. But you have to understand and figure out what is your why. Why are you doing this? Why should you get better? Because it can get better. And I am living proof of that. Um, I have laid many a days on that couch after work. And my job ends at 2:15, and I get home at 3:15. So as a 40-year-old father, laying on the couch at 3:15 for the rest of the afternoon is kind of weird. And I did it. The next thing I want to talk about is my logo. Okay, my moderate to severe logo. So the moderate to severe is a name that I have to give credit comes from my sister, who will actually be a guest on this show later. The moderate to severe pretty much talks about the range of feelings, but we'll get into that. The moderate to severe has the mountains. What the mountains represent are the highs and lows, okay? Everybody has highs and lows, especially when you're dealing with some type of mental health issues, okay? The highs and lows you're gonna ride, your peaks and your valleys. Where are you at? Okay, I had said the other day that I was somebody who would cycle very quickly. I could be the happiest guy in the world, and then the next day I was deep in depression, laying down, didn't want to get up, was forcing myself. The mountains also represent Sierra Tucson. When I was there, and I'll post some pictures to my Instagram, there were these mountains that surrounded us. Okay, like I said in the last episode, it was mountains and desert and cactus. If you've never seen a javelina, they smell like skunk. They're all around. Quails, roadrunners, saw a bobcat, pretty cool. Okay, they said it was monsoon season. It didn't rain a single day, but it was hot. But the mountains represent the highs and the lows that we go through when dealing with mental health issues. They also represent the mountains, okay, and where I think that I got my greatest change and my come to moment to be like, hey, I'm going to tackle this head on. I'm going to create a platform where other people can hear a voice and hopefully help somebody. And just one person. If I can help one person out there, I did my job. It's very cathartic for me. I feel very good doing it. I enjoy doing it. It's kind of become my thing. And everybody needs a thing. For 20 years, I've been told I need to find a thing from my wife, from my therapist, from my psychiatrist. And I tried things. I was going to do photography. I bought the adult coloring books. I did puzzles. I never found a thing. This podcast and my Instagram page have become my thing, where I find relief, where it feels good to talk about it. I talk about it to anybody on the street, but it is very calming to me to sit here and talk. The colors, the green and the yellow. Well, the green was picked because of men's mental health. Green is the representation of men's mental health for the green ribbon, and I felt that, I wanted to have something that showed about men's mental health. The yellow is picked for the symbol of optimism. Okay, how much optimism do you have? I have a ton of optimism. I appreciate all of you who are listening. Okay, I support all of you who are going through things. I need support. Okay, I need to be appreciated. It feels good. Okay, one of the things I want you to really think about is when I talk about the value in vulnerability, I talk about the aspect of letting your guard down to feel better. I feel better. I am confident that I am not ashamed of the mental health issues I suffer from or the fact that I'm talking about them. And what I've noticed is that by talking about them, you start to see that more and more people, okay, are suffering from some of the same things. And they're at different stages. I've got a lot of emails this week, text messages, just messages in general, from people that I've not talked to in close to 30 years, some of them. And none of them were negative. They were all positive. There were a lot of people reaching out to offer help and support. And that is what I'm trying to create here, is that breaking down of that wall and creating a dialogue where we can talk about this, where maybe we can talk at Starbucks or we can talk at the bar, or you're on the work, and you just talk about it with Jimmy, that it was a rough night, and hopefully tonight's going to be better. You're a little anxious, you're working through it. That is my goal. Why moderate to severe? Moderate to severe was a name that was created by my sister. I have to give her full credit. It does not matter where you fall, okay, on the line of how severe or how moderate your mental health issues are that you're dealing with it. The bottom line is you're dealing with it, and that's enough, okay? You have it, you're dealing with it. There is no such thing that somebody has it worse or somebody doesn't have it as bad. If you have it, you're dealing with it, and you should be treated and understand that that is enough to seek help and to be able to talk about it. No one should ever judge you and say to you how bad it is, or you may not have it that bad, because we all have different stages of it and we can all handle different things. Like I said last week, 15 years I tried to battle it. 15 years I tried to beat it. I thought I could conquer it. It's not something that you're going to beat. You're not going to outlast it. Okay? You're not going to be the last man standing. And one of the things that I've really come home with, and I've talked last week about the fact that I take it day by day, is the fact that I have to be aware that at any time I could have a little episode. Now, I used to sit and wait for the other shoe to drop. So I would go in and I would talk to my therapist and I'd say, I'm feeling good, but I know it's only a matter of time before I don't feel good. I'm feeling well, but, it's going to come soon enough that I'm not going to feel good. So, I was kind of predicting my own downfall in a way, because I knew that eventually it would happen. But I didn't have to think about it on a daily basis. And that's kind of what I was doing. All right? I was prophesizing my own downfall. If you say something enough and over again, then eventually it will. I was willing it to happen. And that's one of the things that I don't want you to do. I don't want you to will it to happen. I don't want you to wait till the other shoe to fall. I want you to be able to get out there and talk about it. Now, like I said, I am not a medical expert. What I am an expert on is Jonathan. I know Jonathan Scott very well. I can speak about Jonathan Scott, and I'm telling you how I feel. And I hope it resonates with some of you and offers you a chance to look into yourself and say, yeah, you know what, he's right. And like I've said, you can reach out to me at any time, via the socials, via my email, which is jonathan@moderate2severe.com, and get that dialogue going. I'm always open for the dialogue. I do have resources that I could point you to. All right? It's your journey. It's your battle. It's no one else's. There are others around you who are going to help you. And, God bless my wife. She is a saint. I don't know how she puts up with me without the mental health issues. I don't know how she does it with the mental health issues. Okay? And if you know me, you know that I could be a handful. But she has stood by my side for 20 years and has helped me tremendously and has helped my kids. And like I said earlier, has protected me. You are in a battle. Do not fool yourself. If you're listening to this and you have some type of mental health issues, it is a battle. But it's not one that has to be a consistent battle. There is definitely help out there. There are people you can talk to. Okay, there are things you can do to make yourself feel better. We talk about the medication regimen that I'm on. I must have been prescribed 10 medicines before I started even taking the one I was supposed to. Okay? So I don't know if I would have felt better earlier. I'm sure I would have if I would have taken the medicine, but I didn't. Because I know better. And if you know me, you know that I know I don't really need to be told what to do. But I was wrong. I think I'm stubborn like a lot of men are, where, you're not going to tell me what to do. I'm not going to talk to somebody that I don't know. Actually, I find it easier to talk to somebody that I don't know because what are they going to spread rumors about? They don't know me, and I don't know them. You know, it's great. It's like going into confession on a weekly basis and knowing that you're safe. I go in there, I tell what's happening, I leave, and I know nothing's going to be said. And if it is, who cares? How's it going to come back to me? I don't know who their friends are or their associates, okay? But you are in here together. This is your journey, this is your battle, and you need to take up, I don't want to say arms, but you need to start thinking of ways that you're going to look at it. And if you're a woman who is listening to this because you are dating a man and trying to get into his head, and hopefully I can be that sounding box, it's essential that they talk to somebody. You know, I talk to anybody, and I'm wide open. I do have a great therapist. I do have a phenomenal psychiatrist, and even my old therapist was phenomenal. And I was lucky enough to find them, you know, because telling the stories are hard, and telling the backstories are hard, and you have to find the person you click with. That could take visiting a couple doctors, a couple therapists, a couple social workers, and it gets hard. You know, one of the tips somebody had told me was, for people who have to go and see a lot of people when they're looking for someone, sometimes it may be easier to type out your story. Just to type it out. Print it out and bring it to the doctor and say, this is my story. Okay, I've said it many times. If you have any questions, ask me, but here it is, I'm going to give it to you. That's why I came up with the moderate to severe, because we're all at different stages, we're all at different points, but we're all battling, okay? Nobody has the right, and it is debilitating. It is extremely debilitating. And the range of feelings are something that is hard to explain. It's hard for those around you, but it's not like we want to do that. We don't want to be super hyper one day and super sad the next day. It's not what we're doing, you know? My wife jokes because I come down sometimes and I'm all pumped up, ready to go, and she's like, are you all right? Do you need to calm down? But, you know, it's just those days where you feel good and you want to get going. Like, I like to feel good. I like to have, you know, a good time. The other times are the times where I can't talk and it slows down, and we'll talk about that, and my motor skills shut down, and it's hard for me to formulate a sentence, and all these things, and I'm like, man, what am I doing? This is just not me. But it's true, and it happens. You know, I don't know what to say. I can't answer questions. I just totally start shutting down. But that's for another episode. You know, somebody asked me my anxiety, what does it feel like? And what do I feel like on a day? Well, I constantly have cotton mouth. Excuse me. And that's from the medication I'm on. But you know what? I'll take the cotton mouth if it makes me feel much better. You know, I get a lot of free-floating anxiety, which means it'll come and it'll go. And when I get it, you know, I get very tense. My body will tense up. It'll feel like there's a weight on my chest. Some people get nervous after having a heart attack, but I've had this for so long, I know that I'm not having one. And this goes back to my childhood. I can remember sitting in school and my chest tightening up and me feeling like I'm going to have a heart attack, and going to the water fountain and knowing that I can't tell anybody, because who are you going to tell? Okay? This is the early 90s, late 80s. Who are you going to tell that you feel like you're going to have a heart attack because your chest is tightening up? They're going to tell you to go get a sip of water. And that's where I really believe that this whole stigma of talking about it starts from when we were younger. We didn't talk about things. You know, you fell and you got hurt, you rubbed dirt on it. You know, now if you rub dirt on it, the parents freak out and they lose their mind. But, you know, when we were growing up, we would rub dirt on it. We would do things of that nature. I get a tingling in my hands. I start feeling disassociated. I need to ground myself. If you don't know what that is, I put my feet on the ground and I feel my feet on the ground and I try to grab it. The disassociation is when you feel like you're out of your body. You know, and I would tell people when they would ask me, are you okay? And I said, I just feel like I'm outside of my body and looking at myself. And it's really, you know, it's uncomfortable because I'm staring down at myself, you know, talking to other people, but you know, you have to ground yourself. You have to get yourself out of it. One of the weird symptoms that I used to get with my anxiety was just this cold sensation on my thighs. it almost felt like somebody would rub like a Vicks on my thighs, or Bengay, where they would get numb and they would get cold, and that would happen usually on my thighs, and those are my anxiety symptoms that I get a lot of times, and other people may get other things, and your symptoms are yours, and they're for you to figure out how to work through, and just like I do it with the grounding, and I take the deep breath, and how you go through them and deal with them is important, because you don't want to just sit there and ignore them, because they're not going to go away, and if they do, it takes a real long time. Where if you learn skills, you can learn skills that can help you deflate them a lot faster. My depression pretty much just took everything out of me. When I'm in a depressed state, I'm extremely exhausted, extremely tired all the time, lack motivation. I struggle to work. With the ADHD, my work takes me a lot longer to complete than other people. What would take some people maybe 10 minutes to do a task, it's going to take me 20 or 25, and I have to be so extremely focused. So instead of just being tired, and from the depression, I also became overly tired, if that's possible, because of the work that I had to put in to complete things. And a lot of times you'll see that with people is the depression, is the tired and the moodiness, and the not wanting to get up. I like to call myself a functioning depressed person, because I got up for work every day, and I always had something that was keeping me afloat, whether it was, a coaching job, or an interview, or a school trip, or, the kid's birthday. There was something that always kept me from really crashing and burning. But what I realized this last time with the depression is you think you hit your bottom, and then there's a trap door. There's this trap door that kind of takes you from your bottom and drops you out. And that's kind of where I landed to end up in Sierra Tucson. Couldn't wake up, didn't want to do it, no motivation, nothing. And it's hard, because people will say to you, get up and just go outside and walk. And we'll talk about this, and if you know me, I joined the gym. I go every morning at 5 a.m. because I need to have that physical output. And my wife has told me for probably 20 years, you need to do something physical. And I was just so tired of doing physical stuff after working out and playing sports for all those years. I said to myself, I've been to the gym. I don't want to lift. Plus, I can't lift anything anyway because of shoulder surgery. So I don't want to embarrass myself in the gym, which I don't care about right now or anymore. But I did join a gym. I joined Orange Theory Fitness, and I go at the 5 o'clock in the morning, and I love it. But when you're in that depressed state, you don't want to get up. You don't want to go. But you got to force yourself. And even if it's just to go outside and to sit, you have to start making those baby steps. One of the last things I want to talk about before we get into our interview for today are the holiday blues. The holiday blues are real, folks. I suffered from the holiday blues. I also suffered from seasonal affectiveness disorder, which we'll get into. According to the National, Alliance on Mental Illness, 64% of people with mental illness report conditions worsen during the holidays. That time pretty much runs from the mid-November till after the New Year's. The holidays for people are very tough. Okay? They're very tough for a few reasons. Number one, they're very tough because of isolation. If you're an isolated person and during the holidays when people are hanging out with friends and family and you're not doing that, it becomes very tough. The holiday depressions, the symptoms are mild though, compared to seasonal affectiveness disorder. The seasonal affectiveness disorder, the difference is where the holiday depression or the holiday blues last during the holiday season. The seasonal affective disorder can start, in the early fall and last to the late spring, even the summer. It's darker out. People don't see as much. The symptoms are severe. I had it, and I was recommended going to therapy, of course, because I did go to therapy, but going to therapy and getting a light lamp. And I actually sat in front of this light lamp for, 5-10 minutes a day, and it was supposed to replicate the sun. Maybe it works for some people. It did not work for me. Since I've been feeling better the last couple of years, just being outside helps me a lot. There's enough sunlight in the morning. There's enough sunlight after work to get out there and get into the sunlight. Um, the holiday blues are, and some people ask me, why did I decide to put this out now? And I decided to put it out now because of the fact that many people are suffering from the holiday blues or from seasonal affectiveness disorder. I hated the holidays. Hated the holidays. It wasn't until we had our first child about 17 years ago that I started to enjoy them. I do not like getting gifts. I loathe getting gifts. I'm like the Grinch. I don't want a gift. I don't want to open it. If you give me one, I'm not going to open it. The only thing worse than getting a gift is someone that's saying, open it, open it. I don't want to open it. Can I open it in private? I've never liked getting gifts. I've always been someone who would rather give than receive. When you have a child, though, it changes a little bit because it's not about you at the holiday, it's about them. So I kind of started liking the holidays a little more. Not thrilled with them. We do have parties, and I apologize, but, we have Christmas Eve here, and I like everybody to be gone by like 11, and they're going to hear this and know, I'm not attuned to or against taking out the vacuum at 11 and start vacuuming and cleaning up so people can leave earlier and I can get the night going, meaning to shut down. But the holiday blues are definitely a thing. The last couple of years, the holidays have been great. COVID did put a setback into that. After COVID, before COVID, we used to have a massive Halloween party, which was tough for me with the anxiety and things of that nature. But I did it. And after COVID, we haven't started it back up yet. But, I'm working my way to getting there. Baby steps. Baby steps. But a lot of the causes of the holiday blues, they say, are, lack of sleep, excess eating and alcohol, the financial stress, the isolation, the loneliness, the unrealistic expectations, the expectations that your family members have of you. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to be? Are you going to be happy all the time? Things of that nature. As I said earlier, you just have to take care of you and make sure that you are okay. But those are my reasons for doing this podcast. And I think that there are a lot of people out there who suffer. And I just want to make it so that we're not suffering. What we're going to do now is we're going to have a conversation with my sister. I thought about who wanted to be the first guest, and I realized that it was probably somebody who has known me the longest, besides my parents. So, I went with my sister, and we're going to hear what she has to say right after this. Thanks.